This is an updated version of Connecting the Dots, Proxy Agency, studio closures, and a planned scandal turned deadly, now expanded to include the hidden structures and manipulative tactics that Yu Menglong likely faced, and that continue to distort our own judgment as observers. If you've seen the earlier version and are short on time, you can skip ahead, but I strongly recommend watching this full update. Beyond revisiting Yu's agency change and the shutdown of his 2 studios, this version offers a wider and more detailed view of the chain of events and the underlying mechanism that shaped them. Disclaimer: this analysis is based on publicly observable events, documented timelines, industry practices, and logical inference. It does not claim access to classified information, nor does it assert definitive conclusions regarding any individual's legal responsibility. Its purpose is to highlight inconsistencies, overlooked details, and structural patterns that merit public scrutiny. All interpretations should be understood as analytical commentary, not formal accusations. Critical discussion is welcome. For years, Yu Menglong appeared to the public as a polite, uncontroversial actor with a gentle demeanor and a quiet career. Behind the surface, however, a very different story was unfolding, one that emerges when timelines, past appearances, media reports, and corporate actions are carefully aligned. Viewed in sequence, the events of his final years reveal a chilling pattern: a career deliberately wound down, resources systematically stripped away, and a man increasingly isolated, until his disappearance and death in September 2025. After Yu's tragic death, his studio posted the first statement on Weibo on September 11th. Netizens quickly noticed that the post lacked an official company seal. Upon closer inspection, it emerged that both of Yu's studios had already been dissolved. How a non-existent studio could issue a formal announcement and even seemingly rule out foul play before the police investigation concluded became one of many suspicious threads surrounding his death. Most people simply noted that his 2 studios were dissolved. Many assumed, without questioning, that Mr. Yu dissolved them himself. Few paused to examine the logic behind that claim. That's exactly where our investigation begins. Yu officially owned 2 studios: Shanghai Qimeng Film and Culture Studio, founded in 2017 with 5 million RMB in registered capital, and Dongyang Xianmeng Film and Culture Studio, established in 2016 with a nominal 500 RMB. In China's entertainment ecosystem, this arrangement is common. One company handles acting contracts, while the other manages endorsements, variety shows, or live streaming. Such a setup aids tax planning, limits liability, and protects intellectual property. Simply having multiple studios proves nothing on its own. There are widespread allegations that Yu's studios were used, against his will, for money laundering, a claim not entirely baseless. However, that topic falls outside the scope of this video. Here, the focus is on the timing of the studio's dissolution. The timing, viewed alongside Yu's publicly known work schedule, reveals a pattern. In 2025, although Yu's career had shifted away from leading TV dramas, he remained actively working. He appeared at the Dragon Boat Festival Gala in May, filmed Chang Ye-xing from June to August, and had a scheduled TV program taping on September 12th, the day after his death. Shanghai Qimeng quietly ceased operations in November 2024, likely after major contracts were fulfilled or terminated, precisely the kind of closure that signals the end of substantive corporate activity. Dongyang Xianmeng remained active a few months longer to handle residual filings, then dissolved in July 2025. On paper, this resembles a planned wind-down, but the critical question is, planned by whom? Generally, changing agencies does not require dissolving all studios under an artist's name. A retirement or permanent withdrawal would be a more plausible reason, but no such announcement was ever made. Even a hiatus would not necessitate dissolving both studios. This strongly suggests the closures were orchestrated externally, rather than voluntarily. The more logical conclusion: the studios were dissolved not by Yu himself, but by the power structure controlling him, EE Media. Their likely objective was to terminate his career through scandal or a smear campaign after he refused to renew his contract. This interpretation is further supported by Yu's behavior and physical condition in public appearances, documented by fans, a topic we will explore in the next section. Who is EE Media? In 2013, Yu signed his first management contract with EE Media. EE Media is China's only state-owned artist management company, affiliated with Mango Excellent Media and operating under the Hunan Broadcasting System. It serves as a key platform for the company's new media ventures and capital operations. Despite, or perhaps because of, its state-owned label, EE Media has long had a poor reputation within the entertainment industry. Fans' concerns from that time are still visible on Weibo. Signing with EE Media was widely regarded as bad news. The reasons were well known within industry circles. The contract, drafted entirely by the company, left young artists, especially those emerging from talent competitions, like Yu, with no room to negotiate. EE Media controlled his assignments, his schedule, and his public image. Legal technicalities mattered little compared with the practical reality. The agency wielded total power. Artists under EE Media have virtually no autonomy. Their career trajectories are entirely dictated by the company's arrangements. Attempting to terminate a contract before its expiration carries exorbitant penalties, often hundreds of times what the artist has earned. Many young performers, realizing the trap too late, try to end their contracts as soon as possible, even before earning a significant income. But even then, they are often required to pay penalties reportedly exceeding 500,000 RMB. According to a well-known TV host, a substantial portion of EE Media's annual profits comes from these contract penalties. Under the CCP, where the rule of law is effectively absent, an artist challenging EE Media over predatory contract terms is very likely to lose, a pattern confirmed by multiple cases. Zhang Liangying, the third-place winner of the 2005 Supergirl singing competition, appears to be a rare exception. Yu Menglong's career appears to have been constrained by EE Media. As early as 2018, he unfollowed the company on Weibo, a gesture that seemed to signal a breakdown in their relationship, though tensions may have existed long before. In interviews, Yu expressed frustration that the company repeatedly ignored his requests for long-term career planning, lamenting the loss of trust. Many speculated that his contract with EE Media had expired in 2018, but this proved not to be the case. Over time, and with limited disclosure from the company, these rumors gradually subsided. When his contract ended in 2021, Yu reportedly signed with a different agency after disputes over renewal. Some online observers celebrated this as Yu regaining independence. Yet in hindsight, the underlying power dynamics remained almost entirely unchanged. In China's entertainment industry, smaller agencies often function as proxies for larger firms. Their staff may retain close ties or operate as de facto extensions of the bigger companies. Yu's assistants, managers, and coordinators stayed connected to EE Media, ensuring that the same system continued dictating his work and public image. On paper, the move suggested independence. In practice, the power behind the scenes likely remained the same, and Yu's situation only deteriorated. Online sources indicate that Yu was emotionally low at the end of 2021, and his subsequent work schedule reveals a sharp decline in resources after 2022, likely a consequence of the contract renewal dispute. What many perceived as his successful departure may, in fact, have marked the beginning of a career downturn, serving as a deliberate smokescreen by the agency to conceal continued control and intensifying pressure. In this light, the move appears to have been strategic. Yu's refusal to renew his contract, seen as defiance, provided EE Media an opportunity to publicly distance itself while quietly retaining control through proxy entities, and simultaneously punish him. This likely marked the beginning of a coordinated effort toward a soft ban from the industry, coupled with measures designed to subdue Yu. Should he continue to resist, harsher actions could be taken through proxies, both mentally and physically. We do not know precisely how EE Media orchestrated Yu's signing with a proxy company after 2021, given that his original contract was for 8 years. It is likely, however, that the initial contract included clauses or traps that allowed the agency to maintain control even after the formal term ended, effectively dictating his career through proxies while giving the appearance of independence. The record supports this. After 2021, Yu's career shifted sharply, from leading roles in television dramas to secondary or minor parts in online productions, punctuated by occasional gala appearances. His sole leading role was in 2024's A Love Story of Oiled Paper Umbrella. Yet the drama itself, its plot, atmosphere, and framing, carried a deliberately constructed sense of fatalism, almost as if designed to reflect Yu's psychological state and suffering. Rumors even circulated that he was physically assaulted during filming breaks. The investor behind the project was Shin Chi, a figure who either wields real power within or maintains close operational ties to EE Media, all while remaining deliberately obscure to the public. His true identity is hidden, and he was likely the big boss whose anger was sparked when Yu refused to submit to his personal authority and advances. We will examine him in detail in a separate video, including his likely intention in having Yu star in this drama, which appears to have been part of a broader tactic of manipulation. After Du Qiang became Yu's assistant, likely in 2022 as part of the agency change, Yu's public appearances changed drastically. He displayed visible injuries, rapid weight loss, and a subdued, constrained demeanor. The dynamics between him and Du Qiang suggest that Du functioned more as a handler than assistant. His constant presence and physical proximity clearly unnerved Yu, leaving him under unrelenting supervision. Within this context, the dissolution of Yu's studios does not look like a voluntary professional adjustment, but an imposed administrative maneuver, a tactic designed to choke off resources, restrict visibility, and force him toward a soft disappearance as punishment for defiance, one that later escalated into a hard disappearance. In this industry, a second-term contract for an established artist is usually a 3-year term, meaning renewal discussions would fall in 2025. All signs point to Yu rejecting it again. By the summer of 2025, Yu's life had already been pushed to the margins. One gala, one drama, one scheduled TV appearance. His weight had fallen to a dangerous level, and in his final public appearance on August 13th, returning to Beijing from Shanghai with Du Qiang, likely after filming his last drama, Chang Yexing, in Hengdian as a guest actor, he looked extremely thin, fragile, and unmistakably broken. He avoided fans' eyes, trying to hide his tears. Only after entering the car did he turn back and wave. A long, deliberate gesture from someone who may have sensed he would not return. By then, both studios were gone. Yu had no legal protection, no operational entity, no contractual leverage. Only the people controlling him remained, the same individuals who shut down his studios, restricted his work, and later insisted they knew very little about him. On August 3, 2025, 10 days before Yu's final public appearance, Gao Taiyu, an alleged perpetrator and fellow actor, posted a Douyin video casually opening a car trunk and tagging it, "Transport in car trunk." After Yu's death, viral CCTV footage suggested that on September 9th, Yu was very likely moved in precisely this way, transported to the Sunshine Upper East complex after being held elsewhere. On August 9, 2025, Yu Menglong's official fan club, in reality controlled by EE Media, announced that it would no longer accept letters or gifts offline, claiming it was to maintain public order and protect fans' safety. His real fan club had been forcibly dissolved by EE Media in 2018, triggering a wave of public criticism toward him at the time. Both events share one purpose: isolating him and severing his connection to his supporters. Taken together, all signs point toward premeditation. More disturbingly, they suggest the plan was prepared long in advance, and that its contours may have been hinted at or even shown to Yu himself as part of a final effort to break his will before the crime was carried out. Even when they operated behind layers of cover, the truth can emerge when the signals align: corporate shutdowns, shrinking schedules, cryptic posts, evasive statements, visible injuries, and the unmistakable menace of a constant handler. Yu was not retreating from life, he was being systematically cornered within it. Then came the coded Xiaohongshu message on August 31st, a string of seemingly random letters that the recipient decoded as, "Next week and the week after, catch and discipline this kid from eternal love. We'll look for the organizer before catching him, then deal with him." The timing aligned precisely with the period of Yu's assault and death. In entertainment circles, coded posts like this are commonly used to alert paparazzi without leaving a direct trail. Paparazzi indeed appeared at the indicated location, likely after a few more similar exchanges. Some may ask why the perpetrators wanted paparazzi on the scene. The most coherent explanation is that the original plan was to manufacture a scandal, to capture footage of Yu being drugged and sexually assaulted, then weaponize the images to destroy his reputation. In China, any artist linked to drug use, regardless of context, is almost automatically blacklisted for life. Dozens of precedents show exactly how this script unfolds. But something changed. At some point, the situation escalated beyond the perpetrator's control. Whether Yu resisted, possessed evidence, or simply knew too much, his continued survival became a liability. What began as an attempt to destroy his public image turned into an attempt to erase him altogether, and we cannot rule out the darkest possibility, that killing him was always part of the plan, and that the orchestrated presence of paparazzi was meant to broadcast a warning to the entire industry: submit or disappear. What we do know is this: every observable sign points to an attempt to harm and sabotage him. The studios dissolved. The warnings became tangible. The paparazzi were summoned. The machinery began to turn the moment he refused to be corrupted, when he rejected contract renewal and remained uncontrollable. From that point onward, every step aligned with an effort to crush him professionally, if that was the objective driving the operation. In other words, Yu Menglong studios were shuttered because EE Media, or whoever operated behind that facade, could no longer extract value from him once he refused to renew his contract. He resisted, even under intense pressure and under both psychological and physical abuse. And once he refused to remain an asset, they sought to erase him from the industry, preferably with shame, at the very least. Across multiple live streams, he dropped subtle clues about the danger closing in on him, clues that seemed cryptic at the time but now, in hindsight, form a chilling trail of warnings he was quietly trying to leave behind. As early as 2020, in a promotional video for Ralph Lauren, he said that nothing else mattered as long as he could see the morning sun after a sleepless night.
在经历着不幸，会让我反思说，其实生命的每一天都很珍贵。以前会遇到很多困难，会觉得是天大的事儿，但其实在生死面前，很多事情都已经不是事儿了，所以更想要珍惜在今后的每一天，不让自己留遗憾。生而为人，向阳而生。
Live toward the sun was his motto. Only now do we understand how revealing that line truly was. Looking back, it feels as though he had already sensed the threat gathering around him. He longed to live, but he may have long since stopped fearing death. When reporters approached EE Media after Yu's death, the company issued a cold mechanical statement. His contract had long expired, they claimed, and they knew little about his situation. The deliberate absence of sympathy or regret was jarring. Their refusal to express even the smallest trace of humanity made the statement feel defensive, hypocritical, and inadvertently revealing. One detail stands out: reporters would not have gone first to a supposedly irrelevant company unless, consciously or not, everyone already understood that EE Media had remained his real controller all along. And one question still lingers: who was actually operating the Weibo account of Yu Menglong Studio? The account not only had immediate first-hand knowledge of his death, it behaved as though it held the authority to issue an official announcement, posting before any police report or formal confirmation. That alone speaks volumes. The only people with that level of access and confidence were those who had always controlled his affairs, EE Media or the proxy agents working under it. In other words, the account itself exposes the control they tried so carefully to conceal. It is now unmistakable that Yu's agency change and the dissolution of his studios were never what they appeared to be. When viewed against the shadowy architecture of proxy companies, handlers, and covert chains of command, each move takes on its true meaning: a series of calculated maneuvers designed to strip him of protection, isolate him, and tighten control, until the perfect moment arrived to frame everything as fate, the blood moon. What we've uncovered sheds light on the emotional and psychological torment Yu Menglong likely endured. Every tactic we can now identify from the outside, pressure, isolation, coded warnings, manufactured fatalism, was first weaponized against him from the inside. The same methods designed to confuse the public were used to destabilize him, to erode his judgment, shake his confidence, and trap him in fear and despair. Seeing the pattern in retrospect helps us grasp the invisible violence he was forced to navigate alone. Throughout his entire career, Yu Menglong was never truly beyond EE Media's control. His final, anguished words, "I've been threatened by you since I was 25, trace that control back to 2013, the year he entered the Superboy competition. From that moment onward, he was entangled in a structure built to exploit, intimidate, and possess him. Time and again, he resisted, fighting for even the smallest fragment of autonomy. But the system surrounding him was engineered to be inescapable. No matter how hard he struggled, he was never allowed to break free. And yet, despite relentless coercion, he never surrendered. He refused to comply willingly, even under sustained psychological torment and physical abuse. Fragile and delicate as he may have seemed, he carried a strength few ever recognized. Alone, he stood against a machinery designed to corrupt or crush him, and he did not bend. And in that solitary, stubborn defiance, he was, in the truest sense, a hero. It's remarkable how the loss of someone I had never even heard of can feel so heavy. Yu's story resonates not simply because of who he was, but because it lays bare the cruelty, control, and quiet brutality that so many endure under a totalitarian system. His life and struggle speak to something universal: our capacity for empathy, our instinctive outrage at injustice, and our awareness of how fragile human dignity becomes when power is unchecked. Even as a stranger, he leaves behind a weight, a question, and a lingering ache. His courage, his suffering, and the truth revealed through his fate continue to echo far beyond the life he was allowed to live. At the same time, tracing the power dynamics and institutional logic behind his ordeal reveals a chilling mechanism. The shadowy figures behind the Yu Menglong case are not isolated villains. They are nodes in a system. Their tactics extend far beyond a single tragedy, spreading rumors, igniting anger, and clouding judgment. Through information asymmetry and plausible deniability, they can push entire communities into rabbit holes, diverting attention from the truth while keeping their own hands clean. Yu's story reminds us that such systems are not abstract. They touch real lives, often in ways invisible to the public. Understanding the structures, strategies, and subtle manipulations at play is the first step toward recognizing them and refusing to be complicit. His struggle is a stark call to awareness, empathy, and the courage to confront the mechanisms of control whenever they appear.